This podcast is part of the Planet Broadcasting Network.
Visit planetbroadcasting.com for more podcasts from our great mates.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Do Go On. My name is Dave Warnicky, and as always, I'm sitting here with Matt Stewart and Jess Perkins.
Hey mates.
Hello, friends.
It is good to be here with you all.
You are my very best friends.
Obviously.
Why'd you laugh at that? I was opening up to you and you went,
That was a laugh of affirmation.
that doesn't exist.
Yeah, it does.
Oh.
Okay, you're going to tell me what my truth is?
Sorry, Dave. Sorry you had to witness that.
Yeah, I'm feeling very uncomfortable.
Dave, am I your best friend?
Yes. Thank you so much for downloading this show where we talk about our friendship for a couple of hours. But before we get to that, let me tell you that we are doing some live streams. Basically, we love getting out and about doing live shows, but at the moment, for one reason or another, that is not possible, not in Australia or internationally.
Even in Victoria at the moment?
Yeah. So we have decided to, once again, do some live shows that we are streaming out live. We can buy a ticket, and it's a lot of fun. We've got 4 of them coming up. The first one is Saturday, July the 18th, midday Melbourne time, and then the 3 weekends after that. So we're doing 4 of them. You can buy a ticket to all 4 for the price of 3. And you get the live show, but also we basically do an hour of the show and then another hour of other stuff. So we're going to do a quiz one week, we'll do a Q&A, we're going to do our 250th episode, and then afterwards we're going to have a little party with some special guests and some other party fun times.
I love parties. You and I were just talking about our favourite type of parties.
Yes. Will this be a slumber party? Because that was your favourite type.
Yeah, I reckon a slumber. Because you know what I like about a slumber party? Is that for a large percentage of it, you're asleep. Yeah. And I love to sleep.
We will be live streaming our sleep.
Yes, you can watch us sleep. No, that's creepy. Don't do that.
Yeah, please don't watch us sleep.
Don't watch us sleep. You don't want to see Dave sleep.
Oh, no.
Let me tell you.
I'm very restless.
And your eyes are awake.
My favourite party is a political party. Remember to vote, you guys. I don't know what that means. Something I've heard people say.
So if you want to get tickets to that, it's sospresents.com, or there is a direct link in the description of this episode, and we hope to see you there.
Well, we won't see you, but you'll see us. But we'll know you're there.
I'll wave at you.
Oh. But I won't. I'll wave at you.
Oh.
But I won't. I'll wave at. Let's do the show. Jess, how does it work again? I forget.
Well, look, we've been doing this for 4 and a bit years, Matt. Hopefully you remember by now that each week one of us goes away to our little study hole and researches a topic, and then brings it back to the other two, who politely listen but also interrupt a lot. And this week, Matt Stewart has done all of the studying/research, and as always, he's going to kick it off with a question.
And my question is, this week, if you don't mind, let me scroll up to it. Wasn't just finishing writing some extra info. What is the 1968 Olympics 200-metre sprint most famous for?
1968 Olympics. 200-metre sprint.
It's the Mexican
It is the
Mexico
City Olympics.
Is this a certain political salute?
It is a certain political salute.
Oh.
I'll accept that answer because one of the main actors in the salute sort of dismisses it. It's often called a Black Power salute, and he maintains that it was more of a human rights salute.
Oh, fantastic.
But yeah, it is still... You'll find a lot of articles written about it called a Black Power salute, but I feel like you got to take his word for it, as he was the one who did it. So he's probably the one who knows more than most. But well, let me begin this report.
Fantastic.
It happened on October the 16th, 1968. The US Olympic athletes Tommie Smith and John Carlos stood with their fists in the air during the medal ceremony for the 200-metre sprint. This gesture would become front-page news around the world. It was the 1968 Summer Olympics in Mexico City. According to Britannica, the 1968 Olympic Games in Mexico City were the most politically charged Olympics since the 1936 Games in Berlin.
Okay. I was going to be like, I reckon there was another. So, yep, good to say since then.
Yes. And there was a lot of stuff going on around this Olympics that I'm going to list a bunch of things here that would all be very worthy of a full hour and a half report themselves. Smith and Carlos, the two key players we're talking about, they wanted to use their medal wins to highlight the social issues roiling the United States at the time. According to History.com, racial tensions were at a height and the civil rights movement had given way to the Black Power movement. African Americans like Smith and Carlos were frustrated by what they saw as the passive nature of the civil rights movement. They sought out active forms of protest and advocated for racial pride, black nationalism, and dramatic action rather than incremental change. 1968 was already a traumatic year for the United States. The country was deeply divided over the Vietnam War and the civil rights movement. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated only months before the Olympics, as was Senator Robert F. Kennedy. The King assassination led to the Holy Week uprising, with riots and civil unrest in more than 100 US cities. So I mean, I've just sort of like breezed over a few of the biggest moments of the 20th century. I should say we normally mention who suggested the topic.
Absolutely.
So this topic was suggested by Jordan Hayden, Ben, Hannah White, Bernard Thomas, Soph Waldron, and Miguel Acosta.
As always, a fantastic collection of names.
Yeah, I was going to say it's probably something that's been suggested a few times, so it's not surprising to hear a few names there because it's a pretty amazing story.
Yes. Did you two know much about it?
Bits and pieces, yeah.
I feel like I knew very little. I know the photo; it's iconic.
Yes. Yep.
But the backing story, the race itself, I just didn't really know.
Well, that's true. I
don't
don't really think about the race that they just run.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sort of gets
Because weren't they
overshadowed.
first and third or first and second? First and
first
third.
and third. Yeah,
Yep.
that's right.
So, yeah, I mean, amazing athletes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it. Really amazing athletes.
Yeah, wow.
History.com goes on. In the lead up to the Olympics, Smith and Carlos helped organise the Olympic Project for Human Rights, a group that reflected their black pride and social consciousness. The group saw the Olympic Games as an opportunity to agitate for better treatment of black athletes and black people around the world. Its demands included hiring more black coaches and rescinding Olympic invitations to Rhodesia and South Africa, both of which practiced apartheid. Though the project initially proposed a boycott of the Olympics altogether, Smith and Carlos decided to compete in the hopes that they could use their achievements as a platform for broader change. So there was a long build-up where it looked like black American athletes were going to boycott.
Wow.
But they, it sounded like that's the way it was going to go for quite a while leading up, and then they changed their minds, I think, with the thoughts that, they'll be on the main stage of the world and they'll maybe be able to make a bigger stand by attending rather than not.
Yeah.
It's hard to know what...
I'm sure going into an Olympics, you're already sort of putting an insane amount of pressure on yourself, just to do well. But then if you're also going to sort of make that kind of statement, you'd be putting extra pressure on yourself to do well.
Yes.
Oh, because
Getting knocked out in the first round, you're like, fuck.
What's the 200 meter sprint? Was that 16 seconds or something? Well, anyway, so it's just under 20 seconds or whatever, or just over 20 seconds. So how long it takes? Anyway, but you just got to stuff up that one time in 4 years and not make it to the final, and then you're like, I was going to use that for my platform.
Exactly, yeah.
And now it's gone.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, that's right. I hadn't really thought about that, the extra pressure on you there.
I'm here to prove my worth on so many levels.
Yeah. Whereas if you say, I'm the best in the world at this, and I'm not going to do it, I'm not going to show you my talents, then you don't have to. That is in some ways that's the sure thing statement.
And that's what I've done every Olympics.
I mean, I would, but...
I am the fastest man alive.
Yes.
I mean, traditionally the Olympics is for amateurs, and I'd hate to overshadow everybody just out there having a go.
Yeah, I'd choose not to run as well. So. Sociologist Harry Edwards had the idea of African American athletes boycotting the games to protest racial inequalities in the United States. And according to the Smithsonian, quote, as students at San Jose State University, where Edwards was teaching, Smith and Carlos took part in that conversation. Carlos, born and raised in Harlem, was, quote, an extreme extrovert with a challenging personality, says Edwards, now emeritus professor of sociology at the University of California in Berkeley. Smith, the son of sharecroppers who grew up in rural Texas and California, was a much softer private person, again, according to Edwards. Smith grew up on a farm, and I was watched this documentary which was made by an Australian man 10 years or so back called Salute, and Smith is featured in that. And he told this story that he would go to school for 8 hours and work in the fields for 12 hours a day. And he's like, people are saying that's not possible. And he goes, look at me. I'm telling you, I did it. It is possible. It's brutal.
That's not enough sleep.
No.
And
that's why I'm like,
if you remember at the start where I said I love a slumber party, that's not enough sleep.
This guy's not getting invited to slumber parties.
No.
He told the story of his. He was asking his dad. He wanted to run. His dad, his dad's like, they were poor. They needed the money. They just had to work. And but then there was a teacher at his school that his dad kind of liked, who was encouraging him to run. So his dad said he'd give him a chance. He said, you can run tomorrow, but if you come second, you're back in the field next week.
Wow.
And Smith was like, so I didn't lose too many races from then on.
Well, so he's good at putting the pressure on himself and winning high stakes races.
Yeah. Did that from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Every race is for your career. 10 days before the opening of the games, a group of unarmed students gathered to protest in Mexico City's Three Cultures Square. Britannica states that they were there protesting the Mexican government's use of funds for the Olympics rather than for social programs. Apparently quite a few thousand people were there, students unarmed, and despite that, the government sent in bulldozers to disperse them before the army opened fire at the crowd.
This is just before an Olympics.
10 days before the Olympics, which is all about coming together and peace.
And the world's eyes are on that city always.
Exactly.
That's insane.
So, and it was swept under the carpet by the government, and the media didn't really know or report on the full extent. Even athletes there didn't know the full extent of it all.
Right, because you'd already been, they get there a couple of weeks beforehand, don't you, to acclimatise, all that sort of stuff.
So apparently the government's official death count was 4, but I've seen other estimates suggesting up to 3,000 students were massacred.
What?
They rounded it down to 4.
Yeah.
Fuck, I had never heard that.
There's other estimates in between, but
Yeah.
they're sort of like...
Somewhere between 4 and 3,000.
So they say this is one of the most politically charged and Olympic Games ever, this just happened just before, and I think in part it was, the way I sort of read it was the government were like, we don't want anything distracting from we're putting on a great games, we're showing the world how great we are, we don't want to see these protests. So yeah,
Jesus.
It's I would say not the way of going about it.
No.
It's a big call, I know, but these brutal events are said to have deeply affected Carlos and Smith. When Carlos arrived, he apart from that, so he didn't know the full extent, but was still like, oh, this is not right. They're just trying to have their say. And, even though they were kind of protesting against the Olympics, they're just suggesting that the government could be spending more money on its own people.
Yeah.
And how do you respond to that? Killing your own people?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Well, I mean, less people means less money you have to spend on them, so...
Fucking hell. When Carlos arrived, he noticed that the route that they were driven into the athletes' village, the Olympic village, was lined with big colourful billboards that were like painted by school children and stuff. And he walked up close to get a look to see what past them, and he realised that they were just covering the slums and all the cruel poverty that was just behind it. Babies wrapped in newspaper, I think you mentioned, and just like abject poverty behind, just sort of papering it over to show the greatness.
Yeah, like actually papering it over. Wow.
Yeah.
Shit.
So it was, I mean, all that's grim, and like I say, that probably deserves its own report in itself, that massacre, but that's just the backdrop of these games. So at these games, the 1968 games, 112 countries were represented by around 5,500 athletes. It's from Britannica. The high elevation of Mexico City at 7,500 feet was both a benefit and a hindrance to track and field competitors. The sprinters and field athletes thrived in the thin air. For instance, Americans Bob Beamon in the long jump and Lee Evans in the 400-metre run shattered world records, and Dick Fosbury won the high jump with his revolutionary Fosbury flop technique.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't realise that was so recent. I always pictured that to be like in the 20s or something.
I asked I was hosting trivia with some friends the other day, and one of my questions was, in which sport would you perform a Fosbury flop? That's so funny. I was also talking about this with my parents the other day, and it turns out my auntie's father was one of the coaches at the 68 Olympics,
Right.
in athletics, and because of the altitude, when they sort of were going into their hotel rooms, he was like, everyone has to take the stairs.
That was him, Neville.
Yeah, no,
Not the head coach guy.
no, it wasn't the head coach.
Oh, because in that documentary, Neville told it like it was him, but it was really your uncle.
And it may well have been.
You dog, Neville.
No, I mean, this is like a third-hand story my
Right.
mum's telling. But yeah, telling them to take the stairs so they get used to the altitude, and they couldn't make it 3 or 4 flights.
4 flights, yeah.
Yeah.
So
These are elite athletes. They can't take the stairs.
because Australia we don't have any altitude high enough to do a training camp, so they just weren't used to it at all. Whereas some of the other countries like America have places they could go in their own
Yeah.
country and train for a bit beforehand. But yeah, the Australians were pretty shattered by it, by the sounds of it.
How tall was this building?
Yeah.
God, I can't breathe up here.
The 200-metre sprint is best remembered for the protests on the podium, but it was a remarkable event regardless. This is from sportsreference.com. Coming into the year, Tommie Smith was considered the best 200-metre runner, but John Carlos had won the Olympic trials in an unratified world record of 19.7 seconds.
Oof.
It was not accepted because his shoes had too many spikes. They weren't up to code at that point.
Too many spikes.
Yeah, they were a new kind of, I think they were brush soles or something. They had just had a different kind of thing that hadn't been okayed.
Interesting.
They also have rockets.
Rockets, yes. Each spike was a rocket.
Yeah. Too many rockets. You're allowed 4.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, 5.
That's why
Yeah.
Astro Boy was disqualified that year.
Robbed.
Smith had won the AAU, which I think is the Amateur Athletic Union, in 67 and 68, while Carlos was a 1967 Pan American champion. So they were two athletes at the top of their games, and they were sort of neck and neck in terms of who was the best. Smith was the current ratified world record holder with a time of 20 seconds flat, which he achieved in Sacramento in 1966, the same year that my football team, the St Kilda Saints, won the VFL Premiership. They won and only VFL
Wow.
AFL
Is there
Premiership.
any relation between the events?
No, unfortunately not. I would have loved for Smith to have been recruited by the Saints. I reckon he would have definitely added a bit of zip off the half-back line.
Need a bit of speed in there.
Bit of zip.
Get him in.
Oh, we need a
Fastest
bit,
man in the world.
tell you
Bit of
what, we
zip.
need a bit of zip.
Who can we get? Well, I could try the fastest man in the world. Yeah, get him on the blower.
Such a dumb. Get him on the blower.
Right.
Why do we call phones blowers?
Blowers.
I don't get that.
That'd be a thing. I reckon, like, originally you had to blow them to. They were like, that was how they were powered.
Who are you blowing?
The phone, the
You
operator.
had to blow the operator and then they'd dial. All right.
All
Who
right.
do you want to call?
A deal's a deal.
Get them on the blowy is what it used to be. So at this point, no one had officially broken the 20-second mark.
Oh,
Well,
right.
there you go. All right. So that's bloody quick, isn't it?
Some had done it, obviously, just with rocket
with
shoes.
rockets. Yeah.
19.7. That's crazy.
Yeah, like
I reckon I could do it in 30
breaking
seconds.
10 seconds for 100 meters is super fast. Doing it twice in a row,
Yeah.
also very fast. There were 50 competitors split up across the 7 heats. John Carlos won his heat in 20.54 seconds. That was the first heat. Then Tommie Smith was in the second heat. He broke the Olympic record in his heat, winning in 20.37 seconds. That newly set record was then broken in the sixth heat by Australian Peter Norman in 20.17 seconds, which is his personal record. He'd never run that fast before. I think it sounds like, reading between the lines of it, it sounds like for longer distance runners, a high altitude made it harder, but for the sprinters, for some reason, maybe it helped them a bit. But he's also said that the track over there, he wasn't used to running on that. Back home, he'd run on grass and stuff. And then over there, this stuff was called tartan. And he's like, every step, it felt like I was getting an extra 4 inches. It felt like it was bouncing off
It was springy.
He was on a rocket track.
He's like, what, is this a trampoline track or something? This is crazy.
It's like when you're at the airport and you're walking really fast on the travelator.
Yes.
You feel like a god.
Yeah.
But you're just walking normally, but you're just passing normal walkers.
Yeah, go on. See you later.
Suckers.
This is what you say
See
Bolt
the
must
gate,
feel.
losers.
You realise that, I'm going past the gate and I can't get off.
I gotta double back.
You're going too fast.
Back her up
You try to climb off the side.
with your bag.
Help me. Help me, normal walkers.
Look, I know I just made fun of you, but I need your help.
Help me. That's funny.
But I love that this guy, because you would have thought that what you're used to training in, if you went to something different, it would be bad for your routine.
Yes.
But he's gone, this is amazing.
This sounds great.
So I think his best before then was about 20.5. So he's knocked a big chunk off. Big chunk.
Olympic record.
A big chunk and also no time at all. You know? Like in running, yeah, sure, but it's fractions of a second.
Yeah, that's right. But it's wild. No one had run that fast in the Olympics ever before.
Wow.
Wild. Another Australian was also in amongst it. Greg Lewis won Heat 7 in a time of 20.71 seconds. That's the last I'll mention of him. But I just thought, just in case Greg Lewis's grandson is a listener, I'd throw him a bone.
What about his granddaughter?
No, not for her.
Not for her.
Or granddaughter. To be honest, I haven't looked up his family tree.
What about great-great-grandchildren?
Yeah. They're all invited.
Yep.
To get a real thrill.
What about his nieces and nephews? Or
Yes.
nibblings, I should say.
Any of the nibbles? Nibblings. Very fun.
So cute.
According to history.com, Norman was a working class boy from Melbourne. The very city we're in right now.
Melbourne.
He was born in 1942. He was born in Coburg.
Wow, I've been
Just up the
there.
road from Shibidel Studios. Though he was poor, this is still from history.com, though he was poor growing up, Norman was an extraordinarily fast runner and learned to race on spikes that his father, a butcher, borrowed due to lack of funds. In 1960, the teenager burst onto the national running scene as a junior, winning his first major title in Victoria. From then on, he became a major contender in Australia in track and field. Powerful sprinter. His specialty was his finishes, an area in which some short course runners falter. Apparently his starts were real bad, finishes were real great. He,
I mean, like Jess said, it's so minimal. I mean, most of a 100 or 200 metre sprint, it's all the same thing.
Yeah, imagine if you fix up your starts, Peter.
Yeah, come on.
Because that's where you lose a lot of time.
Yeah, he's already breaking Olympic records.
He he was doing a bit of athletics and he got into running a bit by accident. The relay team was one man short, so and apparently the story goes that him and his mate were asked, "Does either of you want to just fill in on the relay team?" He was doing high jump and shot put at that time, long jump, and he goes, "Yeah, I'll be up for it." And they're like, the three guys, they'll have you in front. And you just have to run to the finish line and win the race, but they'll be smashing it. But apparently there was a bit of a fumble in the first baton changeover, so he was a little while back. And he just flew home and won the race for him.
And he was one of the best on the
and
whole
he'd
track.
never run before. Which would have been a funny thing to realise.
I used to do the relay, but I never went first or third because I didn't like running around the corner.
Oh, right.
Just the straights
straight.
for me, thanks. That's true.
So second or fourth? Is fourth traditionally the fastest person? Is that
Yeah.
right? That's where your Usain Bolt is, right?
Yeah,
Right,
that's
bring it
Fourth
on
is your
home.
fastest.
So, yeah, that's funny that you had the power, though, to make that demand. So you're obviously a powerful runner.
I was
as well.
fast.
Yeah. In the quarterfinals, Smith, Carlos and Norman all won their heats, moving on to the semi-finals. Tommie Smith won his semi-final, again breaking the Olympic record, this time in 20.14 seconds. So the Olympic record's been broken multiple times already.
It's awesome.
Before John Carlos broke it once more in his semi-final. So I think that's 4 times it's been. Each of those 3 guys have had it at least once broken so far. Peter Norman finished in a close second place with a time of 20.22. So 0.1 seconds slower.
Far out.
And is this still in semis?
So that's semis.
Yep.
So they've all qualified now for the final, which makes sense because we know that they're on the podium at the end. So it'd be wild for them to not qualify.
That's how good he is.
Unfortunately for Smith,
He
though,
just ran
Someone
onto,
else dropped out.
he ran onto the podium.
He was there.
Oh, I've never run an Olympic final before, but all right. I reckon I can give it a try.
I'll give it a go.
They're like, the other guys will get you in front. You just have to run to the finish line. Oh my God, he's got a medal.
unfortunately for Smith, he pulled an abductor muscle during his semi-final.
I've never even heard of that muscle. What's that?
Jess, you're the weights person. What is
Damn
that?
it.
It's
I
up,
don't know.
up high on the leg, I think.
Yeah.
Abductor.
I think so. Are they?
I don't think I've got one.
No, I don't think you do, mate.
So he was still able to run in the final, but I mean, obviously that's a bit of a blow for who would be the favourite going to the race.
I mean,
Pulling a muscle in your leg when you're a runner. And your race is the next day for the final.
Oh no.
But he was still able to run in the final. He had to do so, though, with his thigh wrapped. I'm guessing that's where the abductor is then. Yeah, it's right.
Oh,
It's in, like in your groin.
Yeah.
oh right. That explains it. I don't have it.
You don't, yeah.
I don't have a groin.
Your body skips from your belly
It's kind
to
of
your knees.
Yeah.
It's
it's
sort of a...
it's groin and into your thigh a bit.
I don't know.
Oh, it depends. Yeah,
Yeah, that feels like a
Or-
pretty important running muscle there, does it?
Yeah, because
Hard to do
the
without it.
abductor is used to pull a body part away from the midline of the body. So, for example, the abductor muscles of the legs spread the legs away from the midline. So they're like your pelvis kind of area.
Right.
Probably quite sore if you're running on that.
Oh, so that would be super painful. Anyway, the stage for an epic final showdown was set. There was a false start, which I guess built up the tension even more. It was a hotly anticipated race. The Australian commentator who was over there, Tony Carlton, remarked, "This is the hottest 200-metre field ever assembled at the Olympic Games."
That's cool.
So they're all babes too.
Yeah, super
Wow.
hot field.
Ah, awesome.
Check out his rig.
Oh my God.
They were like, if you don't run that fast, you can certainly walk the catwalk.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'd like to see your abductor muscle.
New rule this year, boys. Got to run topless.
So it just came in on the
So
wireless.
what's that? I'm just getting a word in. Yeah, everyone's got to take their tops off.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
We've got these new special G-string running shorts. Sorry, fellas.
Can keep your shoes on, obviously, but tops do have to go. So
I'm afraid this event has been upgraded to a biathlon, and you will now have to run the race and then do a swimsuit competition, and the average of that will win the gold medal.
We'll get you in these white t-shirts. Sorry.
this hose has gone crazy.
I can't turn it off. Ooh.
So the race had to restart after a false start. The second start, everyone got away clean. Carlos was leading the field around the bend by a solid 1.5 meters. He was flying. He got out of the blocks great. But then the last 50 metres, Smith accelerated, as did Norman. And Smith flew out to a 2.5 metre lead.
Whoa.
Even on 1.5 legs. And even though he slowed down and raised his arms to celebrate the win as he crossed the line, he still finished in a new world record time of 19.83 seconds.
Oh, wow.
World record with a dodgy abductor muscle.
And
Dodgy
celebrating too
And
early.
you see at the end, he slows over the last few paces, so he could have smashed it by even further. Norman flew home to finish second in 20.06.
He flew back to Australia
He flew home.
to celebrate.
to celebrate.
But he forgot to go past the
Mid-race,
finish
he forgot to
line.
get past the finish line and was disqualified.
So he comes second.
And he just pipped Carlos, who finished in 20.1 seconds. You can see at the end, Carlos sort of looks to his left and he sees Smith passing and Mrs. Norman coming down the other side. Amazingly, the first 4 runners, including 4th placed Edwin Roberts from Trinidad and Tobago, who finished in a time of 20.34 seconds, all had beaten the Olympic record Smith had set in his first heat the day before.
Whoa.
So it was just a hot race, super fast. Everyone was babing, no tops.
Oh, wow.
Oh, God, the dream. I'd commentate that Olympics, let me tell you.
So the race in itself, which you just never hear about, was amazing in itself. World record, like beating quite like those markers, like the 20-second marker.
Oh, yeah, no
beating
one's ever got under that. Yeah.
It's pretty amazing that's never talked about at the same time. Later that day, Carlos and Smith were ready to make their iconic protest, but it wasn't just raising their gloved fists. Their protest included many symbols. According to History.com, as the athletes waited to go to the podium, Carlos and Smith told Norman that they planned to use their win as an opportunity to protest. Smith and Carlos decided to appear on the podium bearing symbols of protest and strength. Black socked feet without shoes to bring attention to black poverty, beads to protest lynchings, and raised black gloved fists to represent their solidarity and support with black people and oppressed people around the world. This is from the Washington Post. The protest had been something the athletes planned carefully. Everything captured in the photo held a special significance. Smith and Carlos had walked slowly to the stand as if in mourning, their hands clasped behind their backs, each holding a running shoe. They walked across the grass of the stadium in black stocking feet. They had taken off their shoes specifically to protest poverty in the United States. To protest the lynchings of black people, they wore a scarf and beads. Quote, I looked at my feet in the high socks and thought about all the black poverty I'd seen from Harlem to East Texas, Carlos wrote in his 2011 book written with Dave Zirin, The John Carlos Story. I fingered my beads and thought about the pictures I'd seen of the strange fruit swinging from the poplar trees in the south. They bowed respectfully as the Olympic official placed their medals around their necks, but when the anthem began to play, they lowered their heads to protest the hypocrisy of a country that proclaimed to uphold freedom and human rights around the world, but neglected to protect the rights of black Americans. Carlos unzipped his Olympic jacket in defiance of Olympic etiquette, but in support of, quote, all the working class people, black and white, in Harlem who had to struggle and work with their hands all day. Carlos had deliberately covered up the USA on his uniform with a black t-shirt to, quote, reflect the shame I felt that my country was travelling at a snail's pace towards something that should be obvious to all people of goodwill. Then the anthem started and we raised our fists into the air. When Smith thrust his fist into the air, the crowd fell silent. Carlos and Smith recalled later that they knew by openly defying Olympic rules, there would be repercussions. So I know the photo, I knew the fists and the gloves, but I knew nothing of all, that was so...
They've really thought about everything.
Yeah, every little element. So they were wearing the black socks through the whole meet as well.
Yep.
But it's just like so symbolic, every little element of it. And because of the backlash that we're going to talk about soon, they never really got to explain a lot of that stuff at the time. So... and the media really seemed to railroad it as if they were just troublemakers and misusing the Olympics, which is about coming together for politics. But they didn't really ever get to explain, or at least their message didn't seem to get through. What they were talking about was, it was highlighting negative things, but it was doing it in a pretty positive kind of way.
Yeah.
It was almost like an art piece.
Yeah.
I thought about every little detail of it. Yeah.
Before heading out to the ceremony, Carlos realised that he'd left his gloves back at the accommodation at the Olympic, Olympic Village. This is when it was suggested that he take one of Smith's gloves. This is why in the photo you'll notice that Smith is raising his right fist and Carlos is raising his left fist. They each had one of Smith's gloves. That's something I never noticed either, which is, to me, it sort of adds something to the story as well. It's kind of...
Yeah.
Norman, the Australian who came second, he asked if he could be involved in the protest. And according to History.com, Carlos and Smith suggested he wear a badge for the Olympic Project for Human Rights that they were involved in. A lot of the members of the American team were wearing these badges. They didn't have a spare one, though, Norman said he was keen to, but they didn't have a spare one. So before the ceremony, Carlos got one off an American rower, Paul Hoffman, who was walking by. The way they tell the story in Salute was that Carlos sort of shook his hand with his right hand and with his left hand unpicked the badge and took it off without him knowing. But they also talked to Hoffman in it, and he said he was stoked to be handing it over to Norman. This is from history.com. Australia was experiencing racial tensions of its own. For years, it had been governed by its White Australia policy, which dramatically limited immigration to the country by non-white people. While the Australian government welcomed new residents from predominantly white areas like the Baltics, it regularly turned down non-European migrants. In 1966, the Saints won the premiership.
It didn't say that.
No, I didn't say that. Sorry. That was just sort of muscle memory kicking in. In 1966, the government made the first steps towards abolishing the policy, but its effects reverberated throughout Australia. Non-Australians weren't the only people discriminated against. Aboriginal Australians too were historically oppressed in the country, which forced Aboriginal children into boarding schools while removing others from their families and placing them with white households, which is now known as the stolen generations. Norman supported his fellow Olympians' protest, in part because of the intolerance he had witnessed in Australia. Australia was not a crucible of tolerance, notes Steve Georgakis, a sports studies specialist from Australia. Norman, a teacher and guided by his Salvation Army faith, took part in the Black Power salute because of his opposition to racism and the White Australian policy. Leading up to the Games, there was a lot of talk about potential protests, and there was already talk about violent backlash. According to the Salute documentary about Peter Norman's involvement in the protest, the three men feared for their lives as they walked out to the podium. Death threats had been flying for weeks, and it was rumoured that gunmen might be in the crowd ready to cut down anyone who despoiled the Games with an anti-racist protest. That wild. So that was something going through their heads, even just walking out there like they might be...
I was just thinking before that like it takes a lot of guts to make that kind of statement on such a public platform. But yeah, adding that there had been death threats and already violence and anger, that is crazy.
Imagine being in the crowd and seeing that, being like, this just isn't the Olympics. I know I'll make this right. I'll shoot one of them.
Yeah.
Like, what? It's all about, the Games are about humanity.
Then I'll be the hero.
Yeah, celebrating humanity is the whole
sense.
thing.
As Smith and Carlos stood with their heads bowed and their fists raised, the American national anthem played, but the stadium fell quiet. Smith later recalled that you could hear a pin drop.
Whoa.
Or as Carlos would write, the stadium became eerily quiet. For a few seconds, you honestly could have heard a frog piss on cotton.
Both beautiful sayings we all use all the time. So
and then I actually did hear that. So
my God, you could hear a piss. You could hear a frog piss on cotton in here.
I think, yeah, that probably... I didn't really thought about that, but that probably shows you the two different characters.
Yeah.
Smith is hear a pin drop. Carlos, frog pissing on cotton. He said, there's something awful about hearing 50,000 people go silent.
Piss on cotton, yeah. That is not a nice sound. Oh, yeah, that would be so unnerving. 50,000 people go quiet. That is terrifying.
He said it was like being in the eye of a hurricane.
Oh.
So Norman's standing at the front. They're all facing in a single file looking towards the American flag. So Norman, he knew what they were going to do, and he said even without seeing them, he knew they were doing it because of the way the crowd reacted in that way.
Right. And you know how often these days, because I've only ever watched modern Olympics, like in my lifetime, of course, often there's so many events going on at the same time that they may have like a ceremony going on by the long jump. And he said it was one of the hotly talked about events.
Yeah.
And the hot contender.
Everyone stopped.
Oof, what's going on over there? Never mind the Fosbury flop. There's something in that.
Yeah. No Fosbury flops here. Looking at that.
I'm Fosbury rock hard.
But I just want to point out those athletes, not their value.
Not their value.
Not their value, but they were absolutely hot.
A great habit to get into. It's not your value, but you're gorgeous.
So the 50,000 people totally silent for a moment.
Wow.
But then, according to History.com, the stadium burst into racist sneers and angry insults.
No.
Yeah.
But the stadium is made up of people from all over the world.
Yeah, so
right?
I imagine that it wouldn't have been 50,000 people. I imagine it would have been, sounds like it was enough to cut through.
Fuck. That's awful.
In the press conference after the event, Smith stated that when he wins, he's just an American. But if he does something bad, then his race is brought into it. We are black and we're proud of being black, he said. Black America will understand what we did tonight. According to a BBC report at the time, within a couple of hours, the actions of the two Americans were being condemned by the International Olympic Committee. A spokesperson for the organisation said it was a deliberate and violent breach of the fundamental principles of the Olympic spirit. It is widely expected the two will be expelled from the Olympic Village and sent back to the US. To me, it just doesn't... I mean, at a different time, but I think even now athletes aren't allowed to make such statements. But to me, it just... yeah.
I mean, the Olympics is always political because people don't go to certain countries, don't go to other countries because they got issues with other countries.
They got beef.
Yeah, they've got beef, you know.
Governments bid for it and fund them, and it's all very political.
It's very political, yeah. A
Like
lot of manoeuvring behind the scenes.
Feels like one of the most political things there is. But often when you hear people say, we don't like you getting political at sport, it happens in the AFL a lot. People, what I think they mean is, we don't like you getting political with things I disagree with.
Right.
Yeah, it's be quite frustrating. In the AFL, you hear people, like the AFL often back some sort of a positive, what seemingly to me positive cause, and there'll be always people online, footy fans, supposedly saying, can't we just stick to footy, try winning the game, stop getting distracted. But they don't talk about that in, there's a Saints game, the Maddies match, where they're raising funds for medical research. But if it's to raise, the Saints also play a pride game, which is about respecting everybody. That one's political.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
If it's just play footy, why aren't you saying that for all? You're not saying that during the last post before the Anzac Day.
There's an Anzac Day game every year.
Let's not make this political.
So it's a bit frustrating, and it seems like that's just a long-term thing. But that's just my cuck opinion. So that article where it was said they were widely expected to be expelled from the Olympic Village, sent back to the US, that was written at the time, and they were right. That's what happened.
Really?
In the Salute documentary, one of the American, who would have been the one on the American Olympic Committee, he's like, I'm not making that call. If he's getting pressure from the IOC to do that, and he's like, I'm not doing it. If you want to do it, you do it, but don't put that onto us. And then they said, if you don't expel them, I think this is what he said, if you don't expel them, the whole American team's expelled.
What are you talking about?
That just wouldn't have happened.
Actually,
No,
that would
surely.
be Australia's dream, because if the Americans are out, we can actually win some gold
Yeah.
medals.
Get us in there.
That's why Commonwealth Game is our time to shine.
It used to be
Yeah,
until
not
the
so
Brits
much
got
anymore.
good again.
Yeah.
It's like they
That's
started
all right,
caring
they'll
about
dip.
sport again 10 years ago.
They'll
Damn it.
dip. It's our only chance to win basketball, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, top 4 in the Olympics 3 different times. The gays led boomers.
Andy Gaze, that beautiful man.
What a layup.
What a head of hair.
Ugh,
What a
Silver
babe.
Fox. Yeah, he's a babe. Go topless, Gazy.
Shirts and skins. Gaze's skins. That's me playing one-on-one with him. Imagine me trying to take on Andrew Gaze.
He was holding the ball just above your head.
Just a little bit of friendly one-on-one. Hey, let's play horse.
Oh, it's not pants off, Casey. Playing horse. Assume he's got a big dick.
I assume that's right, yeah.
Look at that.
Don't you dare.
So that's exactly what happened. They were kicked out. This is from history.com. Smith and Carlos were rushed from the stadium, suspended by the US team, and kicked out of the Olympic Village for turning their medal ceremony into a political statement. They went home to the United States only to face serious backlash, including more death threats.
Fucking hell.
So
you work so hard for so long and then you win gold and bronze at the Olympics. You don't even get a second to appreciate that. And I know that's not the most important thing to them in everything that's happening, but at the same time, it's just like you've just done something truly remarkable and you don't even get a second to celebrate that.
Yes.
That's mental.
Yeah. I mean, and I've seen a few people say this, and possibly in the documentary as well. It's like they won. They deserve the right to celebrate that however they like.
Yeah.
They've got a minute on the podium. Why can't they quietly do a protest trying to bring attention to what they see as injustice? It just feels
They weren't being violent. They weren't being, aggressive at all. You're right. They just lifted their hands up.
You should be allowed to do whatever you want in that minute. Like if you want to do a magic trick or something out there.
Close-up magic?
Yeah, that's
you.
you.
The cameraman, bring him in.
Bring him in.
You got
Bring
a
him.
deck of cards.
Make the gold medal disappear.
Yeah.
I'd dack everyone.
If you want to prank someone, that's your thing.
Yeah, I'd
That's
prank.
your minute.
I'd do a prank.
you've
And
worked-
if you finish first, you can dack second and third.
Yeah.
Second can dack third.
Yep, and then I'll
Second
dack.
can't dack first.
No, first can dack anyone.
Third's not dacking anyone. They're dacking themselves.
Third can dack the noble person who
Yep.
gives it to him, like the third Baron of...
Yeah.
This one was a Viscount or something. They could have dacked him.
And then there's always somebody else that follows that person with a little plate that holds the medal and maybe some flowers. They're dacked.
Yeah, they're dacked.
You better believe they're dacked.
Dacked ya.
And
I'm number one, dacked ya.
but they're all aware that they'll probably get dacked because that's what becomes popular. You can do anything and then all of a sudden the new tradition is everyone's being dacked. So all the dignitaries are always wearing some really strongly waistbanded boxer shorts.
They've put their belt very tight that day.
Yeah.
But my aim is as many people in 1 minute as I can, so I'm off the podium. I'm running as fast as I can, just dacking everyone inside, and they can't resist.
Like one of those world record attempts that you see on those TV shows, like how many watermelons can you headbutt in a row, and they line them all up, and you're just dacking down the line.
It's amazing. Jessica Perkins has now broken an Olympic record for the most dacks in 1 minute.
She's done it, ladies and gentlemen. She's done it.
But then they realise that you've got too many spikes on your shoes,
Yeah.
and it is unratified.
It's a rocket dacking.
Would you get extra points for getting the undies as well, or is that
I think that's a no. I think you'd be
Okay.
disqualified.
because it takes more art to just get the pants?
Yeah.
And no one's out there looking to see cock and ball
No,
Yeah.
just
or have
I mean-
their cock and ball shown.
just jocks.
I
Yeah.
mean, Channel 7's bid for the rights. They don't want to show that.
Yeah, you're right. Too hard to blur live.
Yeah, especially with once you're through. Do we have blur for 60 people?
Honestly, there is not enough screen left that is not to be blurred because I've
Maybe
dacked them all.
They'd be aware of that too, so they'd probably have to shoot from behind.
Yeah, just bums.
Because there's different levels of nudity, right?
Yeah.
Or nudity.
Nudity.
Nudity. Anyway, that's
Sorry, what a silly
weird
derail.
sidetrack.
But I agree with the documentary. They're allowed to do whatever they want.
Yeah,
Especially if it's a quiet protest. It's not violent, not inciting any hatred or anything. It's just quietly pointing out there's a few changes that maybe should be made.
yeah.
Smith and Carlos still talk about that now. They're like, there's been modern protests, and they're like, as long as it's respectful, it's not vulgar. I don't know. So maybe they won't like the dacking idea. But
Who was the guy who came out of the Big Brother house and he put
the boy with tape on his face?
he put tape over his mouth? That was a harmless protest.
Yeah.
He didn't get he had already been evicted from the Big Brother house, so I suppose he did get sent home.
So
but-
for our overseas listeners that might not remember that iconic moment. So he'd gone into the Big Brother house and they search you before you go in to make sure, you're not bringing anything that they don't want you to into the house.
Some
But
sort of dacking gloves or anything like that.
he'd taped inside his T-shirt, I believe, like a piece of paper that said like "Free the refugees."
Right.
And then when he got evicted and he usually did the interview with the host, he comes out tape over his mouth, and then he just sat there and held the sign.
His name is Merlin.
Merlin. Oh, wow.
How can we forget that?
Merlin.
Merlin. What a great name.
Wow.
Holy moly.
Gretel's like,
He should have been doing close-up magic.
Merlin, when are you going to do these tricks you promised us? He's like, I don't do magic.
We booked you for the magic, Merlin.
You've been in the Big Brother house for 2 months. You haven't done a single trick.
That's why you were evicted. The other people in the house were just getting bored of you.
God damn it.
So,
I guess what I'm saying is, did they think of just doing that?
well, it hadn't happened yet, so they weren't the Merlin influence, because everyone protests that way now.
Yeah, obviously. It's in
Do
the
they
way I
do it
know
the
how.
Merlin way? So, yeah, I keep coming back to this. The two of the fastest men of all time had just competed in this amazing meet, breaking multiple records, each of them breaking the Olympic record, finishing with Tommie Smith breaking the world record. And then they go home to America, where they should be heroes for multiple reasons, at least just for running real fast, but
Yeah.
also for standing up for equality and whatnot. But instead they go home for death threats. The Smithsonian writes that among the fallout for Smith and Carlos, this columnist named Brent Musburger dubbed them black-skinned stormtroopers, like villains.
What does that mean? Oh, villains, okay.
Yeah, it almost sounds like a positive thing.
What was his name?
Brent Musburger.
Brent Musburger.
Yeah. Apparently he would gain fame as a TV sportscaster, but was then a columnist for the Chicago American newspaper. And they also got a lot of anonymous death threats. The pressure, Carlos says, was a factor in his then wife's suicide in 1977.
No.
1 minute everything was sunny and happy. The next minute was chaos and crazy, he says. Smith recalls, I had no job and no education, and I was married with a 7-month-old son. This is from the Salute documentary. Smith returned from the Olympics destitute. As the holder of 11 world records, the only employment he could find was manual labour washing cars.
What?
He later recalled, and this is from the doco as well, I got fired because of my belief in equality. My boss said, if you don't stop this trashy talk you've been doing, you won't have a job. 11 times, he's a holder of 11 world records.
Talking about equality and being like, oh, that's enough. I mean,
And-
he's not a conspiracy theorist, you know?
Yeah, but I just wonder
He
how...
doesn't believe in 5G is causing coronavirus.
Mate, if you don't stop banging on about flat Earth, I'm going to have to get someone else in.
Yeah.
We sell globes,
Yeah, and you keep convincing people.
not to buy
Not to buy.
globes. You're ruining business. That makes sense.
That makes sense.
I think I'm in the doco it was also mentioned they weren't allowed to compete anymore as well.
What?
The Olympic body banned, I think,
They've
life
just
bans.
won. They've just won first and third at the Olympics. They are the best you have.
None of it makes sense to me. So if I'm focusing on the negatives
No.
too much, but it is all of this is pretty mind blowing to me. But I love to you go back, you hear them in multiple interviews. They say no regrets. They do it the same again.
Yeah,
and,
wow.
that's kind of heartening.
They're very strong people.
In Salute, Carlos remembered that his brothers were discharged from the army 2 days after the protest.
What?
And they were like, well, what happened? And they go down, they're like, what did you do? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Doesn't make any sense.
Got nothing to do with them.
Yeah.
But that's just it. It's just out of spite. It's just fuck you and fuck everyone.
How dare you stand up?
Exactly. How dare you disagree? So we're just going to ruin everything. And it's just out of spite. There's no logical purpose to it.
According to Smithsonian, Smith earned a bachelor's degree in social science from San Jose State in 1969 and a master's in sociology from Goddard Cambridge graduate program in social change in Boston in 1976. After teaching and coaching at Oberlin College in Ohio, he settled in Southern California, where he taught sociology and health and coached track at Santa Monica College. This sounds like he sort of put it all to one side as much as he could and lived
Wow.
what it sounds like kind of a nice life. And he's still kicking. He's still living it. He's retired now, though. According to blackpass.org, after graduating from San Jose State in 1968, he played wide receiver for the Cincinnati Bengals. This is a little fun fact. You know, I was saying that he'd offer a bit of zip for the Saints.
Yeah.
Well, he did that for the Cincinnati Bengals in the NFL. And then that's before he went to coach Oberlin College in Ohio and become a teacher. As for Carlos, Blackpass says, after graduating from San Jose State in 1970, Carlos briefly played professional football himself with the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFL, and then the Montreal what's that? It's a Frenchish top.
Alouettes?
Alouettes.
What
does that mean?
No idea.
Oh, well, anyway, that's who he played for the Montreal Alouettes and the Toronto Argonauts, which is fun. What's an Argonaut?
Those people that hang out with Jason.
I assume I always thought some sort of astronaut.
get it.
What do they go under the sea or something?
You know Jason and the Argonauts?
No.
Argonauts were a band of heroes in Greek mythology who, in the years before the Trojan War, accompanied Jason to Colchis in his quest to find the Golden Fleece.
Oh, well done, Dave.
Well,
you know other things golden. Golden tonsils, golden fleece.
Golden Fleece, which I'm wearing right now.
Yeah, I know. You are blinding.
Yeah, sorry about that. It was outrageous, quite ostentatious to rock up to the podcast wearing this. But I mean, if you got it, flaunt it.
No, please don't.
I'll cover up. Or go shirtless.
Thank you.
Fleece or skins, what do you reckon?
Let's do a shirt and skins podcast.
Not your valley, Dave.
Well, I know it's not my valley, but and thank God for that. Thank God for that.
Carlos also kind of followed Smith in a way to become a counselor and track and field coach at Palm Springs High School in California. So they followed similar career paths after the Olympics. In the decades after the 68 Olympics, Smith and Carlos would have what Smith described as a strained and strange relationship. According to the Smithsonian, Carlos says he actually let Smith pass him in 1968 because, quote, Tommie Smith wouldn't have never put his fist in the sky had I won the race. Smith, who won the race in a world record 19.83 seconds, dismisses that claim as nonsense. And who knows? But I feel like if I was going to have a guess, I'm with Tommie Smith on this one.
Yeah.
Just watching the race, it didn't... Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, the fact that it was world record time.
Yeah.
He hadn't let him go.
Yeah.
Right? Otherwise, what was he thinking that he could shave 2 seconds off the world record?
I've seen quoted a few times that the Aussie man, Peter Norman, has said he didn't think anyone could have beaten him without a motorbike. Smith is so fast, couldn't beat him without a motorbike. And that's fast.
Imagine once he saw segways. Would have blown his mind.
Both men insist they have no regrets about 1968. I went up there as a dignified black man and said, what's going on is wrong, Carlos says. Their protest, Smith says, was a cry for freedom and for human rights. We had to be seen because we couldn't be heard. It's a pretty great quote.
Yeah.
Norman faced backlash of his own, Norman the Aussie man, for his part in the protest. Such a low-key part, but it was seen as being huge by the other athletes. He was just standing with them, basically. He didn't put his fist in the air. He wore the badge. It's a very subtle sort of way to be involved, but he did face backlash all the same. He was keen to compete at the 1972 Munich Olympics, but according to Norman, despite qualifying multiple times for the 100 and 200 metre sprints, the Australian Olympic Committee decided not to send him on some sort of technicality. I think they said he was injured at a certain time, and instead they sent no sprinters.
What?
As if they'd sent any, they'd have to send him. This is according to Norman.
Yeah.
At that point, he says he was ranked number 5 in the world, so probably could have got a run.
Could have done pretty well again.
Yeah, which seems like an odd decision for the Australian Olympic Committee to make. He quit athletics that day, the day he found that out.
Shit.
And took up amateur footy in the Victorian Amateur League. So yeah, I didn't even connect that.
So then
all three of them went on to footy afterwards. I mean, the VAFA and the NFL, slightly different standards, but still.
It makes sense though. If you spent so much time training and that's such a huge part of your life, how do you just stop? You know, you may as well funnel that into something else.
Yeah.
Unless you want to stop, then stop. Yeah, that's fine too. You do you.
Yeah, but if you've done it every day.
Yeah, exactly.
You're right.
It's like swimmers. Like they train insane hours, and then once you retire, and you retire young, it's like you're so used to exercising so much that if you just stop, it's going to be such a shock to the system.
Right.
Yeah, often they put on weight and things, don't they? Because it's like you're burning through thousands and thousands of
Absolutely.
kilojoules, and now you're not getting up at 3 a.m. to go for a swim.
and swimming for 3 hours, and then going to school, and then going and swimming for another 3
Yeah,
hours. You know, their training is insane.
It's a big change.
This is still on Norman from history.com. All good things must come to an end. He died without being acknowledged for his contributions to the sport. Though he kept his silver medal, he was regularly excluded from events related to the sport. Even when the Olympics came to Sydney in 2000, he was not recognised.
That's awful.
And so at that point, and still now, that his time in that race is still the Australian record.
And he wasn't acknowledged.
No.
Still 1968.
There were
It's the
people
Australian
involved with
record.
it like, wait, wasn't he? Surely he was. And others, but it seems like it's got to be on purpose, right? It's
Yeah.
either a bigger oversight or people in the committee 32 years later were holding a grudge about him standing there wearing a badge
Yeah.
for equality. It's such a weird thing for people to be upset about.
Yeah.
You want everyone to be treated equally.
Yeah.
Well, you're a monster.
You'll never run in this town
Yeah.
again. What are you talking about?
But I haven't written about this, but I did hear about he's very well respected, or at least he was in the American athletics world. And even though he wasn't even invited officially to the Australian Olympics by the organisers, an American did invite him. He bought him flights. He gave him his hotel room to stay in. He said, hey, you're coming as a guest of honour to the Michael Johnson's birthday party tonight. And he was like the world star in the 200 metres that time. Michael Johnson met him and he's like, I'm a big fan. All the team members seemed to know who he was. And he's like, I didn't think anyone knew much about me. But he found that he'd made a real big impact in the American athletics world. And they really, I think, made him feel pretty good during the 2000 Olympics when the Australian Olympic Committee did not.
I'm glad he got to have some involvement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was at the 1956 Olympics as a boy because he was from Melbourne. That's the hometown Olympics. Apparently he got in he rocked up, he didn't have a ticket, and he saw a guy loading up he had a pie van. And he goes,
I'm listening.
and he said, can I give you any help or anything? And the pie man was like, I understand what you're doing. He goes, you can have one of these pie trays, sell pies, go in. If you sell any, bring me the money back and just chuck the pie tray back in the van before you go. But yeah, you go and have fun sort of thing.
That's
So I went
cool.
in and he did that for a couple of days in a row.
He stole 26 pies.
Every day. Didn't sell one. He'd just go in and put the pie tray straight down.
That's a great story.
When Norman died in 2006, Carlos and Smith, who had kept in touch with Norman for years, were pallbearers at his funeral.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, so they flew, I think Norman's nephew
flew them out.
down. And they spoke really kindly there as well. I think they remained, I don't know, were super close friends because of distance, but they
Stay in contact.
they stayed in contact and remained friendly. You could hear that they all had a lot of respect for each other. It took until 2012 for the Australian government to apologise for the treatment Norman received in his home country, but this is still from history.com. But even though it cost him his career and much of his happiness, Norman would have done it over again. I won a silver medal, he told the New York Times in 2000. But really, I ended up running the fastest race of my life to become part of something that transcended the games. According to The Conversation, another website, there are 2 statues commemorating the salute in America. Quote, one of them is at the new National Museum of African American History and Culture in Washington, D.C., which depicts the 3 sprinters. and the other, quote, was erected in 2005 on the campus of Smith's and Carlos's alma mater, San Jose State University in California. For this piece, the second place podium was left empty. Norman had declined to be depicted to allow visitors to stand in his place in solidarity with the two Americans instead. And you see a lot of photos like that. People take their photos. Kind of, it's a really great,
Yeah, it's a great idea.
Interactive kind of statue. At the statue's unveiling, Norman smoked. He was nervous.
yeah. I just need something with my hands, you know.
But he also spoke, saying, "Athletes work an entire lifetime for the privilege and the honour of standing on an Olympic dais. Why? To hear the adulation of the rest of the world when they stand up there. These two guys gave away that glory in 1968. And San Jose State, you're giving them back that glory today. And I thank you for that."
Wow, that's lovely.
A really lovely quote. I found this article just before we recorded, and this is only from earlier in this week. It's off the Bleacher Report, and it quotes an interview that he did just recently. So I thought I'd just read the whole article. It's pretty short. Dr. Tommie Smith told Turner Sports' Ernie Johnson on NBA Together that he still receives death threats 52 years after he and John Carlos's human rights salute during the 200-meter medal ceremony at the 1968 Summer Olympics in Mexico City.
That is crazy.
That's fucking... Why?
Johnson asked Smith how people viewed him and about the difficulties he endured when he came back home following the games. He replied, "I still receive death threats." And then Johnson replied, hold it. Dr. Smith, really?" And Smith said, "Oh, yes, that's very easy for me to say because I'm the one that read the letters. I'm the one that answered the phone. I'm the one that was on the streets. Yes, I don't lie. I just tell the truth like it is and I move on and do the best I can to be honest with everybody." Smith then mentioned that his wife tried to report the death threats to police. "My wife, when I was in Mexico," so this is right back, "my wife, when I was in Mexico, received death threats while I was gone. While I was in Mexico City, the police station even she told them what she was going through. They laughed her right out of the station." Smith then added that he received hate mail as recently as 2 months ago about the 1968 protest. Smith, who called this protest a cry for freedom, won gold despite racing with a pulled groin. That's probably...
There we go.
That's all we needed. What was it called?
Groin.
Yeah.
Abductor.
I love we've learnt that. I'll never forget that.
I'm not great with muscles. I'm good with bones. I'm not good with muscles.
I like how you said you'll never forget it. I'd already forgotten it. What was it? Groin. I've heard of the groin. When I was a kid, I had groin running issues, and it was the worst.
Very painful.
And it was pretty chronic. It sort of, once you get an issue with it can hang around for a while. So it's... Yeah, I mean, that just hammers at home how amazing this run was. And, yeah, I was going to finish with another part from his own website, but maybe I don't need to do it. It sort of does just go back through things again. But it finishes by saying, Dr. Smith, as the first place and record-breaking medalist, has been asked numerous times what he was doing and or thinking in that moment. His response, praying. "I was praying underneath the bleachers. I was praying on the walk up to the victory stand. And the entire time I was up there. It was not a Black Power salute, as has been written on numerous occasions. It was a human rights salute. Human rights salute, more than anything else." And I guess that is the end of my report.
Wow.
About the 1968 Human Rights Salute.
There we
I'm
go.
not sure what I'll call this episode. Maybe it'll even be called the 1968 Olympics 200-meter sprint.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, anyway, we can talk about that
It's
later.
called the salute.
Oh, the salute.
That's beautiful.
The one-finger salute.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of Aussies might have heard that story. Australians have a real inferiority complex as well. So any way that we can tie ourselves to anything interesting, by God, we'll do it.
Yeah.
So I've heard that story only from the context of Peter Norman and how he was involved, and people will really hold on to the fact that, he actually was the one who suggested they wear one glove each. So in a way, he's the hero there. And you know, there were consequences for him, and he was an amazing person himself. But I knew very little about the two men actively involved.
Yeah, and that came up a lot in a lot of the articles, because I think Peter Norman, until 10 or so years ago when his nephew put out the documentary, that was when he started getting his recognition. But I think it's almost overcorrected. It's like, are we missing the point if we're focusing on the white guy in this story?
Absolutely. Yeah. We're going, isn't this white man wonderful? And it's like, no, yes, sure. But that's not what it was all about. And Peter Norman wouldn't have wanted us to consider him the real hero of this story.
He interviews so well in this. That documentary, I mean, probably for obvious reasons, it focuses on him. It was made by his nephew. And it is really good. But he speaks so well, and I would assume that he would not enjoy it ending up that way.
Yeah,
he did with the statue.
I was thinking that. Yeah,
chose to not even be represented in it. If he had the choice,
he's saying thanks for doing this for them. It's not about him even then.
So I did have that thought as I was reading. I'm like, there was plenty more of his story that I could tell, but also plenty more of the other two.
But interesting to look at the race and the Olympics as a whole. I didn't know. I was almost embarrassed at the start that I didn't know about the massacre and things like that. It was a long time before I was alive.
Yeah, and it was covered up for apparently quite a long time until the full weight of it really came out.
That's wild. Great story.
It's the kind of thing, it's the kind of report that hopefully Dave will do one day and we can really learn all about it.
Hint, hint.
But no, a great story. And I didn't know as much about those two guys, so it was nice to hear a bit about them too.
Yes, and just the fact that it's never really comes up that he was a world-beating world record holder. Tommie Smith, he just seems like a real nice guy as well. We talk.
Love a grown man that still goes by Tommie too.
Yeah, with an IE too.
Okay, bit different. That's fun.
John Carlos, he's great too. I enjoy them all.
It'd be better if he was Johnny Carlos, obviously, but
Johnny and Petey Norman.
Petey Norman.
Wild. Like, you just think, because we just don't, Australia as a country, we don't have sprinters. So that's why that is one of the wildest things. So
Shervington.
I was gonna say Shervs.
He never made a final, did he, in the Olympics?
We've got some hurdlers.
Surely Shervs made
some
a final.
decent hurdlers.
Good hurdlers.
Jana Pittman.
Sally Pearson.
Yeah, Sally Pittman. She's like the best.
Yeah, she's very good. But I think, that's why it's so wild that he wasn't invented at the 2000 Olympics. Australia's greatest ever sprinter. Invented or invited.
Yeah, exactly. He still holds the record decades later, and you don't honour him.
I should double check that. But that's what they said. Well, that documentary was 10 years old. So that was 10 years ago. But who's name an Australian sprinter in the last 10 years? I don't keep my eyes on the athletics as much as maybe I should.
I love the aths.
Yeah, did you got into it a bit growing up?
Probably because I liked doing it myself.
Right.
So I did watch a lot of athletics. But no, not so much of late. What are my favorite events to watch at the Olympics? Swimming, gymnastics.
Oh yeah.
I look away when they land, but apart from that, love gymnastics.
If anything that Roy and HG are commentating,
I'm in. No, great report, Matty. Thank you for sharing.
It is still held by Peter Norman.
That's wild.
Amazing.
Sorry, Shervs.
1968. What's that? 52 years ago.
That's fucking mental. Was he quite old when he died? Do you remember?
No, he was quite young, actually.
Was he?
He was 64, I think.
Oh, no.
Yeah, 64.
So he was quite a young man at the Olympics too then.
Yeah, yep. So he was born in 42. So he's, that's probably standard running age. I reckon that's what maybe the peak of Olympic fashion as well, the 68
They'd be little shorts. Are they tracksuits?
Yeah.
I was thinking the running shorts.
So Matt's just showing us the iconic photo. I think one of the reasons that I didn't know about the socks is that They are covered up by officials in that angle.
In that angle,
Yeah, I've
there are
never
other
noticed
angles
that.
of it. I mean, there's also the man who took the photo. I could have talked a bit about him. He didn't even think it was a big deal as he took it. There's quite a few people got the shots, but he got the best ones, fully showing everything. It's the most iconic one, the one that you've probably seen. And he didn't think of it as a big deal, apparently. He didn't seem to notice the crowd was reacting in any particular way.
Well, it didn't seem quiet to him because it was just like to his camera and the other 50 photographers around him. It was very loud.
There's heaps of stuff to read and watch on this. If you want to get more to the story, as always, there'll be links in the show notes. There are multiple documentaries. The one I watched was the one that a few of our listeners who suggested the topic, that was, I think, their way into the story, and that's why they suggested that I watch that one. But there's other ones that I'm keen to watch, some American ones as well. And maybe if you're interested, you could do the same.
Yeah, go on.
Go on.
Go
Have a
on.
go. Have a go.
No pressure. Anyway, that brings us to everyone's favourite section of the show, the fact, quote, or question section. And it has a little jingle that goes a little something like this.
A fact, quote, or question.
Ding.
He always remembers the ding. Now, to get involved in this section, you get involved at patreon.com/dogoonpod. Link in the show description.
Loads of rewards. Loads.
Name them.
3 bonus episodes per month are up for grabs there, including a Patreon-only podcast called Phrasing the Bar. We'll go through the films of everyone's favourite actor, Brendan Fraser. We do bonus reports. There's I think about over 70 bonus episodes there you can sink your teeth into. But there's also the Facebook group, which is a lot of fun. You can vote on the topics. 2 out of 3 of the reports are voted for by them, so you really get to influence the show.
You get a newsletter.
Yes, there's a fantastic newsletter this week, very food-based.
Yes.
So good. I've started giving my album of the week.
Yeah. Been enjoying that.
There's so much. I think there's more stuff. I can't even think of it all. But if you get on the Sydney Scheinberg Deluxe Memorial Edition Rest in Peace level, you get all of those things that Dave just mentioned, as well as getting to give us a fact, a quote, or a question, and then I read them out on the show for the first time. I don't do any pre-reading, so you could really bloody send me up. You could DAC me, metaphorically speaking.
Yes. No, literally. Matt, stand up. Your bum's on fire.
It's a question. Will you DAC yourself? Yes. Oh, no. They got me.
Boing. Pants around his ankles.
Yep.
So people who give us a fact, a quote, or a question also get to give themselves a title. We normally go through about 4 a week. First off this week, we've got one from Jai Smith. We've all met Jai at a few live shows.
We have.
What a man. He's given himself the title of Vice President of Mike Muffs.
You don't pre-read these.
Yeah, you didn't really believe that to be true. I've got all these sheets printed off with notes and pre-written jokes. Mick Muffs.
I mean,
bracket,
Mike
wait
Muff.
for laugh.
Mike Muffs. Thanks, Joe. But
Jai's asked us a question this week.
I was going to say that the mics we're using don't have muffs, so I don't know if he needs to have a word to the president.
Yeah.
These are muffless.
Jai, could you, if there's been any plosive problems this week, then it's because you haven't been doing your goddamn job. Anyway, Jai asks the question, if you had to rename Australia's states, what would you call them and why? Oh.
Well, you know what? The East Coast has I guess interesting names, for want of a better word. Yeah. But then it's just that one's South Australia, it's Western Australia, Northern Territory. You know, give them something a bit of fun.
I reckon if I was to rename them, I would play a prank on Australia.
Oh, what would you do?
Western Australia becomes South Australia. South Australia is now Western Australia. Northern Territory, still Northern Territory, just so when you look at it, you're not that confused.
Right.
So people lull into a false sense of security.
Right.
Queensland becomes Canada, New South Wales, Jai's house.
Yep. Jai's house, Wales.
and
New Jai's house.
Wales.
Victoria and Tasmania swap names.
Love that. We'd be Tasmanians.
Yeah. What do you think?
I like
Fantastic.
that. That's a bit of fun.
I'm okay with that.
So, pranked you Western Australia and South Australia.
Got them a beauty. Yeah. It would be so much easier for us to do than America, for instance, with their 50.
Yeah.
I would say I'd just name them all after great St Kilda players.
There it is. Yeah.
Nicky Winmar from Western Australia, or Western Australia Winmar land.
That sounds pretty good.
Winmar.
Just Winmar sounds good.
Winmar's all
Yeah,
right.
Winmar's great. Ben Long, current players from the Northern Territory, call it Longland.
Like that.
Love that.
Who else we got? Tasmanians. Daryl Baldock's from down there, I believe.
Baldock.
Baldock.
That's
Baldock,
great.
yeah.
These are fucking great.
My all-time favourite, Frankie Peckett's
Of
from
course.
Victoria. So
Peckett?
Peckett. Is Peckett enough?
Yeah, Peckett's good.
Peckett's good.
Pecketania. Then you've got who's New South Wales. Lenny Hayes is from up there, so Hayes Mania.
Oh, I love that.
And then Queensland. I know Nick Revolt was born in Tasmania, but he grew up mainly on the Gold
We'll
Coast.
take it.
Take
Reroll.
that.
So
Revolt.
Land.
Land. Yeah. Okay. Great.
Love that. Well done. There you go, Jai. That answers your question.
Jai, hopefully that is exactly the kind of.
Do you think that Jai's intending to propose a referendum and is trying to get some ideas for what we should rename everything?
If so, look, give me a call. We can talk through some of those. There's a lot of options for Victoria, for other players. Obviously, Robert Harvey. Maybe we.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Well, you could rename Christmas Island or something.
Oh
Harvey
yeah.
Island.
Harvey Bay.
Stewie Lowe as well. Harvey Bay. We could call Harvey Bay Harvey. Yeah. Change the E to the A.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Fantastic. What about this one? Thank you so much, Joe. What
Thanks,
about this
Joe.
one from Joel Tremblay, who
Any relation?
maybe because his title is The Average Canadian, and our friend Alistair Tremblay Birchall is from Canada. Joel has given us a fact.
Oh, I love a fact, Joel.
Love a fact. Hit us with it, Joel.
Joel's fact is John B. Goodenough, which sounds like a completely made-up name, won the 2019 Nobel Prize in Chemistry for the development of lithium-ion batteries. Is that true, Dave?
Well, it's a great name.
John
That's-
B. Good enough.
Johnny. And I think that he is.
Johnny B. Goodenough. What a great name, John B. Goodenough. Fantastic.
So good.
Yeah, honestly, everyone read the nominees and went, just give it to that guy.
Give it to John. Come on, it'll be funny when we read it
That's
out.
fine. Lithium, who cares? I don't care.
Who cares? Whatever.
Give him the medal.
Give him the medal.
Someone said his name, and John B. Goodenough, and the other one was like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
He is.
You're right.
Give it to him. Thank you so much, Joel Tremblay. From Tessa Chilcott. Tessa offers us a quote. Tessa's given herself the title Creative Director of Isolation and Fashion. Sorry about excessive use of track pants.
Never apologise for that.
Sorry for the excessive use of track pants and old tees. We're working on it.
Oh, no, please. You've perfected it. Don't worry about I wore jeans yesterday for the first time in ages and I was like, what are these? Prisons?
I've been wearing a tuxedo in isolation.
Yeah,
You
Dave's a formal dresser.
You never know when you're going to be invited to an awards ceremony.
Dave, do you have, do you sleep in pyjamas?
Yeah, shorts though. Pajama shorts.
I can't picture you in shorts.
Really? What about when we
I
went
have
to
a poor imagination.
when we went to Thailand?
He had
Oh, yeah?
shorts
Did
on.
you have shorts on? Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, I was wearing a tuxedo in the pool. And it was nice.
Quick dry tuxedo. Anyway, Tessa Chilcott has offered us a quote, and that quote is, I'm free of all prejudice. I hate everybody equally. That's from W.C. Fields.
Very good.
That's nice.
Very dry. You've been ripped off a lot since then, I think, W.C.
I think that's bound to be on a t-shirt.
And finally, this one's from Luke Durham. And Luke has titled himself Chief Researcher in the Dugon Archives. Oh, it's good to have someone working away down there.
Thank God.
Toiling in our ant caves.
It's getting messy in there.
And this is another quote. And this one comes from Terry Pratchett. And it says, it's vital to remember who you really are. It's very important. It isn't a good idea to rely on other people or things to do it for you. You see, they always get it wrong. Oh, that's pretty good.
Oh, it's nice.
Yeah.
Terry Pratchett had some good ideas too, I reckon.
Remember who you are, because other people will get it wrong.
That's good. Yeah, you stop relying on other people to for your what do you call that sort of stuff? Your identity or whatever.
Should probably take feedback though if people are saying you're acting like a real asshole.
Absolutely
You shouldn't be like, no, this is my identity. Only I know who
I'm
I
a legend.
am.
I'm the best.
Yeah, people are like, you're being an arsehole. Well, you've got it wrong.
Yeah, I think you'll find I'm the best.
Terry P said. No, but in essence, that's a lovely quote.
That's good. Love that.
So that gets us to everyone else's favourite section of the show.
If you didn't love that, this is your fave.
Oh, this is for you.
We thank a few of our Patreons, and Jess, you normally give us a little bit of a game to play here.
Yes, I thought of this earlier. What if we gave them their Olympic event?
Oh, great.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Real event? Does it matter?
I was thinking real, but you can make one up if you want.
Well, not necessarily.
Can I kick things off?
Please.
Well,
We're very desperate at this episode.
please,
We need
we need
this.
this. I would love to thank, from Preston in Victoria, I would love to thank Alice Carroll.
Alice Carroll. That's a nice name, isn't it?
It is
Well
nice.
done. Well done, Alice. You nailed it.
And Alice Carroll is, of course, a fantastic athlete in the field of...
Discus.
Oh, discus. Nice one.
Incredible technique.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Just strange grip, or what are we talking about?
Yeah, a little unorthodox on the grip, but gets results every time.
Wow.
Yeah.
She grips it with her teeth,
Yes.
spins around real quick, and just
Yeah.
goes, shuck.
It's actually...
She saw a dog with a frisbee and got inspired.
Her dentist is so mad. But
still supportive, right?
Of course. But
When you're good, you're good.
the dentist is like, we are going to have to replace your teeth. But in the meantime, you are winning world records and I support you. So yeah, pretty amazing. And congratulations, Alice.
Great work, Alice.
Well done, Alice.
Would also like to thank from Redfern in New South Wales. That's in Sydney.
Oh, okay. I've heard of it.
I would love to thank Constantina Terrace.
Constantina Terrace. Great name. I think Constantina won gold in the frog pissing on cotton
Yes.
event.
Wow.
Trained the best frogs.
Yeah. Sort of like the equestrian events. They're not really doing the work.
Yeah.
They're just riding a horse. Well,
But
in
they
this case,
trained the
they're
horse to
riding
do
a
that.
frog.
They're riding the frog and the frog then pisses on cotton.
Yeah. But it's an accuracy sort of competition.
Yeah. They have to draw.
piss a design.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
so
quite beautiful,
so it's
actually.
like artistic. It's like rhythmic gymnastics.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
artistic.
Yeah,
They also
yeah.
have a little ribbon and their
Yeah.
little frog hand.
And a ball.
Yeah.
Wow.
Honestly, there's a lot going on
Yep.
in the competition.
So many things to judge.
It's baffling the first time you watch it.
Now I feel
but
terrible
You get the hang of it.
for giving Alice discus.
Yeah, but she
when-
did it with her mouth.
Yeah. Yep. No, you're right. You're right. Wow. Well done.
Well done,
Can I
Constantina.
thank another couple of legends here?
Please.
I'd love to thank from Rolly Stone in Western Australia,
Rolly Stone.
also known as South Australia in my new country.
I'd call
Or
the state
Winmar.
Rolly Stone.
Yeah, from Winmar. Rolly Stone is good as
Yeah.
well. I would like to, at least a suburb. I'd like to thank Caitlin Turner.
Caitlin Turner.
Caitlin Turner, who I think is a silver medalist, so second comes right after first, still pretty good, in a hot air ballooning,
Oh.
which I believe was actually at the Olympics very early on.
No
Really?
way. Hot air ballooning. What
Yeah.
would you have to do?
Go up and down real quick.
Would it be like it's like a long distance race kind of thing?
No, maybe I'm thinking that maybe I could do a bonus episode on maybe weird, because I've had some strange events.
It's
over the
not
years.
that much weirder than sailing being in there, right?
Well, I
It's just
guess.
the wind.
How do you control which direction the balloon goes in?
Am I going? Mate, I've got to look this up just in case I'm not making this up.
Yeah, I wonder. You know, I can change which direction the air's going sitting around a campfire. If the smoke's blowing at you, you point at it and you say white rabbit, and then it'll move to a different direction.
Is that right?
Yeah. That's
So
a little
maybe they
trick
just
that
do
I
that in
use.
hot air balloons.
Is that not a thing that everyone grew up with as a kid?
No.
Well,
We
that
had the
might have been one
fire
of those
inside the
universal
house. We didn't have to burn things in the backyard to stay warm.
La-dee-da.
We had a fireplace. It was very bougie.
So the fireplace was in the backyard.
On cold nights, our mum would go get our PJs and we'd get changed in front of the fire where it was warm.
Oh, I love that.
That's nice.
Ballooning was part of the 1900 Summer Olympics.
1900.
It's generally now considered non-official, but the aeronautical pioneer Henry Delavaux set 2 world records for distance and duration.
I reckon bring it back.
Duration is such a fun record to hold. But it took ages.
Yeah.
It took the longest. I did it for ages.
Well, he was the best until Caitlin Turner from WA came in and smashed it. Thank you so much. I'd also like to thank now, taking things overseas to London.
Lolo Town.
I'd like to thank...
Lolo Land. I wonder if they've ever called themselves that. They should.
I think they should. And I'd like to thank Amy Casey.
Amy Casey won in calculator sports. So
wow.
She can type boobies.
Yeah, she could type any word.
Yeah.
Any word.
Any word. You just have to spin it upside down. She had real skills, and she could do it fast.
Yeah.
That's really incredible.
And over a
Accuracy
long
and
duration.
speed. Yeah, but also slowly.
That is...
Yeah, she can.
She can do it all.
She'll do a marathon of it. It's amazing.
Yeah,
Wow.
she was called the wizard of calculating.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
That really flows...
She was,
Isn't it beautiful?
like
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
She's the countess of calculus.
Oh, that's pretty
better,
good.
but it makes less sense. Anyway,
something for you there, Amy Casey. Thanks for supporting the show.
thank you so much, Amy. Sorry for that. I'd love to thank, if I may,
Please.
from Dudley in England.
Dudley.
Mark Harris.
Mark Harris.
He holds the world record. Well, actually, Olympic record for fastest time to change a flat battery in his mum's car.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
wow.
We're not talking a tyre. We're talking a battery.
Took the whole battery out, changed it. She was on her way to the shops, had a hairdresser's appointment.
Oh, so it's in real life sort of thing.
Yeah, for sure. No, you just mail in a video of what you've done,
Right.
and they calculate it.
Because that is stiff if your mum doesn't drive, you know.
Well, there are landlocked countries that they don't have as much access to lakes or ocean for sailing. We don't say anything about that.
Could we not just have someone else playing the role of mum with flat battery?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, this is the first ever time, and that's where the event came from.
Oh, okay.
He was the first ever.
How quickly did he do it?
6 minutes.
6 minutes changing a battery.
Yes.
I don't know if that's fast or slow.
Yeah, I remember where I was the day that someone beat the 6 minute mum.
Yeah.
That was what a barrier.
And can I just say, she made it down and got her hair curled. She looked fantastic.
Did you get a perm?
She got a perm.
Oh, my word.
This event was very 80s. Thank you so
Very
much.
happy. That's a very happy.
Wow.
ending.
Mark Harris.
Congrats,
Well done,
Mrs.
Mark.
Harris.
I'd also love to thank from Tracy in California in the United States, Trevor Hammond.
Trevor Hammond is the world and Olympic record holder at car flipping.
Oh,
Can do it up and sell it on. Or
That is something a bloody rich boy like you would say.
He goes to pick
Daddy, let's flip some yachts this summer.
but he goes to pick apart, sees a broken down Nissan Pulsar, does it up, sells it for a tidy little profit.
No, I meant more like he can physically flip a car.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
onto its lid or back onto its
A
wheels.
full flip.
Well, there's two different events. Well, there's a few different events, obviously. There's the distance
Yeah.
flipping, so you're just constantly rolling the car. So maybe some momentum there can definitely help.
There's got to be an easier way to move a car.
What's the type of...
It's like he has
No, but it doesn't have a battery.
Right.
Yeah,
And
need
the
bark. You need
handbrake
bark.
is stuck on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he just flips it. What's the weightlifting event? Something in snatch?
Clean and jerk and
Clean and
snatch.
jerk?
Snatch is just one, isn't it?
Yeah, clean and jerk and snatch.
So the clean and jerk is basically that you flip it. It's a normal car as it is. You flip it onto its lid and then over again in quick succession.
So the clean is onto the lid, jerk is back onto the wheels.
That's right.
Got it.
Snatch is just flip it fully 360.
Wow.
Yeah. Less people can do that.
Someone must have noticed before that if you change around a jerk and clean, it totally changes its meaning.
It is the sexiest of the Olympic events.
Maybe they haven't, and maybe they shouldn't have.
Clean and jerk. You're doing it in the wrong order, mate.
You can't. What can you? You can't clean before you jerk.
You should clean before you jerk and after. Just keep it clean.
Yeah, right.
I should have saved the mint for after.
Well, thanks to everyone that supports the show there. We truly appreciate that. There's only one thing left to do, and that is to see if there's anyone that's going to be welcomed into our Triptych Club this week, which is people that have been supporting the show at the shout-out level or above for 3 straight years without dropping off. We appreciate these people, and they've already had a shout-out earlier on, like the 6 people we just read out. But just to thank them once again for their ongoing support, we've created a little club, and it actually is a club.
It's a lounge.
We've got a lounge, there's drinks, there's live music, there's a velvet rope. There's already a bunch of people in there.
We've got, we've just put in, actually, pretty exciting, we've just put in those sleeping pods.
Oh, whoa. I love a nap.
Yeah, because I love a nap.
Yeah, we're all 3 of us are big fans of naps.
So we've each got our own, because I'm in there a lot, but then there are plenty of others that you can hire. I say hire out. We don't charge you anything, but just pop your name down.
Yeah, so we got a booking. We got a Google form.
You got to book yourself in. Have a kip.
That's great.
Yeah.
Can I put myself down?
Yeah, you've already got your own one.
Oh, great. I'll have one, please.
Yes, Matt. I've given you. You've got one.
Where do I have to?
Oh my God.
Is there a form or?
No, I've put a little plaque on it. It says Matt Stewart.
Okay.
Do not disturb.
Well, I'll ask a manager if they've got any further info.
If it was easier for you, I could rename yours Winmar.
Oh, I see it. Yeah. Oh, Nicky Winmar. Tism wrote a song about him.
Really?
Father and son. Winmar to Lockett.
That's how you become immortal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we break down Victoria into different places. So Lockett is in the sort of in the Ballarat area.
Yeah.
And then you've got Peckett. Oh, actually, so Peckett down on the Mornington Peninsula.
Pecketshire.
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 Anyway, we do have one inductee into the Triptych Club. Did you tell us who's playing this week?
This week, we are very, very lucky to be joined live by none other than the boss himself, Bruce Springsteen.
No way.
A little treat for Matt.
Thank you so much for getting him down. That's exciting.
Wow.
So,
I've seen him a couple of times in huge outdoor shows. One at an outdoor arena, and one at a hill at a hanging rock.
Okay.
But never inside a little club. That'll be a real thrill. What's he playing? Just a bit of everything?
Yeah, a bit of everything.
Is he doing the classic thing where he just takes requests from the crowd if they hold up banners?
Yeah, for sure. And in our small room, there's basically everyone has their own banner.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, everyone gets a go.
That'll be annoying for sight lines, but...
Well, I mean, it's more of a personal experience. Bruce just points to you and you go, all right, whip out my banner.
Yeah.
All right, what Bruce song do you request when he points at you, Jess?
Oh, man.
Dave.
Born to Run.
Yeah, damn it. That's what I was going to say. Can I go again?
Yeah.
Born to Run.
Oh, we're going to hear that twice.
I'd like the stripped back a cappella version.
I don't know what I pick. It's a tough call. Tough question.
Yeah.
I refuse to answer it.
You asked it. That's unfair.
I don't know. Maybe the river.
You made us look like idiots.
Maybe.
I'd say do Up There Kazali.
I've seen him do Thunder Road once, but he did like a stripped down version. I'd love to see the full E Street Band version of Thunder Road.
Oh, we got the
live.
whole band.
Oh, wow.
that'd be
Great.
amazing.
Good on us.
Came down.
Good on us.
They've got their own sleep pods.
Fantastic.
So we've got one inductee.
One inductee from Los Angeles in California. They should call that Lolo Land.
Wow.
From Lolo Land in the United States, I'd love to induct in Sydney Scott.
Sydney Scott.
Welcome. Welcome. Enjoy the boss.
Yeah.
Is there a canopy here?
Oh, yeah, we've got little mini hot dogs.
Oh, yum. That's
Yep.
good Bruce Springsteen food, right?
Exactly.
Love hot dogs.
And chippies and beer. It's like going to the baseball.
Anyhow, welcome aboard, Sydney Scott, you bloody legend.
Thanks so much, Sydney Scott. And to everyone that's enjoying the music of Bruce Springsteen in the Triptych Club this week. And if you want to join them, you can, one more time, go to patreon.com/dogoonpod.
I'd love to tweet at us what your what your Bruce Springsteen request would be. Mine were pretty boring in the end, really. Love to hear. I went in when I first saw him with 4. I'm like, these are the 4 I want to hear. And he didn't play any of them. And they were 4 big songs as well. I'm like, I'd be a chance to see all of these. The night before, he played 2 shows at the same place at Hanging Rock. Night before, he played all 4.
Of course he did.
He mixes up his set list so much that you never know what you're going to get because he just takes requests. The second time I saw him, he was an hour into the show, and he goes, all right, we're going to play Born in the USA in full. Then he played his whole 80s album, like big, huge hit album, one of his many, and then played another hour after that again. He played for 3 hours.
Oh my God.
Wow.
It was fantastic. So I did get to see one of my big 4 that night because he played that whole album, he played Glory Days.
Far out. That's a long time to play.
Yeah.
I get too tired.
Me
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. No,
Tom
thank you.
Morello was guesting on guitar that night as well.
Oh my God.
He was on that tour. Anyway, that brings us to the end of the show, but I would love to hear people's boss requests.
Yeah. Let us know. And you can also let us know any other stuff by tweeting us at DoGoOnPod or hitting us at DoGoOnPod on Facebook, Instagram, and DoGoOnPod@gmail.com. Oh, we haven't even mentioned the web series, have we? We've been putting out a web series over the last couple of months. There are now 7 episodes up. There's 2 more to go, and we'd absolutely love if you could check it out.
Yeah, we've had a lot of fun with them. A lot of people have put in a lot of work, so we would love it if you would go and give them a watch and share them around and just enjoy them.
Yeah, make everyone watch it.
Yeah,
make
force
everyone
people.
watch it.
Make them. And that's on the Stupid Old channel on YouTube.
If you win an Olympic gold medal, use your time on the podium to play that clip of one of those videos.
You're holding a laptop, pointing to the screen and giving a thumbs up to the camera. Good stuff. Good
Yeah,
stuff.
do that, please.
Honestly, if you want to go home to a backlash in your home country, that might be a sure way to do it.
Fuck, that would have been a funny game to play with the Patrons of what would they spend their 1 minute doing. But instead, we gave them amazing world records.
Yeah, and I kind of think that Smith and Carlos probably nailed it.
Yeah.
They got it right the first time.
But in terms of their event, running for 200 metres,
Whatever,
that
lame.
could be zhuzh. And I think we did that.
That could do with the zhuzhing.
We judged to the extreme. We'll be back next week with another episode. We've got a couple more to come out, and then we go to the live stream. So if you want to get involved, watch us live, and then also get the bonus stuff, the quizzes, the live 250th bonus party, all that sort of stuff. There's another link in the description of this episode. But until next week, I'll say thank you very much for joining us. And until then, goodbye.
Later.
Bye.
This podcast is part of the Planet